I'd like to say good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name's Mick Smoothy. I am the CEO of UK Elite Soccer and of Global Team Travel. For those of you that are very familiar with Global Team Travel from previous tours, and I know there's a lot of you out there, we've been taking these groups over to Europe since 2005, and I think, judging by the video, hopefully you were watching before I was waiting for everyone to join in, you'll see what a fantastic experience it is for everybody involved. Just a little bit of background for those people that aren't familiar with the relationship between UK Elite and Global Team Travel. UK Elite was founded in 1992, and I'm sorry, we just lost the slide there. We were founded in 1992, and we started running soccer camps and year-round training programs, and we felt that the next most important thing for kids was to continue developing their all-round soccer education. So over the years we kept refining our offerings with things like residential camps where people would come and kids would come sleep over and really spend a lot of time with us and, eat, breathe, drink, sleep soccer. And, it was very well received. And so as kids developed, we kept thinking, well, what's the next thing to really give the kids a real true soccer education? And we felt that next thing was to be able to take kids over to Europe to play in competitions and experience soccer abroad. And not just experience soccer, but really participate in soccer in a country or countries where it really is the passion, where it's not competing with several other sports for attention. It is just the be-all and end-all, and there's a real passion surrounding soccer. So in 2005 we founded Global Team Travel for exactly that purpose. We began taking teams to various, customized tours, tournaments, and a lot of the time we were finding that we would make a presentation and perhaps an entire team weren't able to travel or weren't ready to travel, whereas a group of kids, maybe 3-4 kids, would like to travel, and we felt that it was really important that they weren't denied that opportunity. So with that in mind, we started a program called Team UK Elite. And basically, Team UK Elite is an opportunity for individual players to come and to play for us. It's a summer-only program. As of right now, we go once a year. And we've just moving on to the next slide. As you can see, we started with Italy in 2006, and we went to England and to Spain, and we were basically trying different tournaments until we really found a couple of tournaments that we really we really enjoyed. Sorry, I think you lost my screen. That we really enjoyed, and we felt were a fantastic opportunity for the kids, not just from the soccer perspective, but also because they were such great venues and locations. So since 2008, we've been flip-flopping back and forth between Italy and Spain because we found two tournaments that we really like and really work well. And they work well for a number of reasons. Firstly, the competition is second to none. Really genuine international competition, fantastic teams entering, the whole range of teams, and just a great opportunity for kids of all ages to get involved in that sort of Olympic-style competition. So that was one reason. The second reason was because the two places we've been going back and forth to are just great destinations in their own right. They're both beach areas, and both have the opportunity to make a real vacation as well as enjoy a fantastic soccer experience. So we found that these work well. We had a fantastic experience this past summer in Spain, and so for next summer 2015 we'll be going to Italy to the San Marino Cup. Before I get into the details of the itinerary, I just did want to mention that this format of using a webinar, it's new to us. We're pleased to say the program has become so successful nationwide that the idea of face-to-face presentations, it just really doesn't work anymore, because we're drawing players to the program from all over the country, and it just works really well to do webinars. The upside is we can have people tuning in from all over, and we've probably had about 60 or 70 people attend the webinars so far. The downside is it's obviously not as personal, it's not as interactive, so I apologise for that. But you know, it works. There is a facility on your GoToWebinar control panel where you can type in a question. Unfortunately, I can't see them in live in real time. But what I will do is after the webinar's finished, I'll get a report and I can see your questions. And Nancy in my office, who has been doing this for a number of years, is a superstar when it comes to Team UK Elite. She will respond personally to everybody's questions and make sure we've got everyone the answers they need. So as you're watching, if you get a question, please type it in. Like I say, unfortunately, I can't answer it here and now, but I can certainly will get back to you tomorrow. Also, as soon as we're done, this is the last live webinar, and as soon as I'm done, tomorrow morning we'll post everything on the website, the UK Elite website. If you go to the tab Play for UK Elite and then click on European Tour Team UK Elite, you can see the presentation, you can see the video. So I would encourage you, you know, if you like what you see and you have friends, teammates that you think would be excited and interested to join, send them to the website. They can watch this webinar. They can also watch the video that you were playing, that was playing as I was waiting for everyone to join. And there's also a place to register to attend tryouts, and I'll get onto that in just a second. So just moving on to the itinerary itself. So as you can see, the tour begins on July 2nd. We are tied to the dates of the tournament. What we do is we go in a few days early so that we get a chance to train and to really get acclimatized before the tournament starts. So Thursday, July 2nd, we fly overnight to Milan. Arrive in Milan, and bearing in mind, again, people are coming from all different places. We deliberately build in some sightseeing in Milan so that we have a chance for people to join up with the group, for all of our groups to you know, gather in Milan. Gives us a little window of opportunity to get everyone together before we head out. So we'd spend most of that day sightseeing in Milan, and then on the way out of Milan, transfer to the San Siro Stadium. Fantastic opportunity to really kick off the tour with a bang. Get behind the scenes, into the dressing rooms, out onto the side of the field, into the dugouts where the players sit during games. It's the home of AC Milan and Inter Milan, two clubs with incredible history. So it's just a really good way to get off to the right start with the soccer culture and the passion of soccer in Italy, and something really exciting for the kids. And then from that point on, we would transfer to our hotel in Verona. When we get to the hotel, one of the reasons we picked that particular hotel, and we did it for the first time 2 years ago, we used this one, was it's actually a sports hotel. So it's a really good facility in as much as there's 4 beautiful pitches right there on site. So it's really easy to get up in the morning, get the kids out, train, and not really impact the day, and use it as a real training base without having to get buses to practice facilities. So it's a really nice hotel, something for the parents as well. Couple of outdoor swimming pool, outdoor bar. You know, of course not that parents will be going anywhere near that, but just a really good relaxing place where the parents can have some fun while the kids are training, and we can use it as a base to do everything else. So when we get to the hotel, we'd have a training session that evening, just a light training session so that the coaches and the kids can work out together, and really sort of get rid of the jet lag, shake off a few cobwebs, and be ready to go. Saturday, July 4th, training session number 2. Like I say, we'd have breakfast in the morning, and a training session right there and then, so it still leaves plenty of time for sightseeing. And then in the afternoon or late morning, we would head out to Verona. Beautiful little city, made famous for Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, the setting for that. lots of history, and just a really pretty place to relax and enjoy being in Italy. Moving on to July the 5th, training session number 3. Again, breakfast, training, and that gives us plenty of time to transfer to San Marino to the tournament venues, the tournament hotel. So on the way, on that Sunday, there's a nice visit we can do on the way to Lake Garda and the town of Simeone, which is one of the prettiest towns on the lake, and just a nice chance to relax, enjoy some sightseeing. We'll give you plenty of downtime, so you can take a boat trip if you wanted to, or just have a wander, have coffee, lunch, and be ready. And it breaks up the journey a little bit to San Marino. When we're talking in general about transfers, these will be on our private dedicated buses. Throughout the tour, we have a bus at our disposal. So there's no waiting around. Everything is very well coordinated and organised, so we can go straight from place to place at our discretion. So we would transfer to San Marino, get everybody situated in the hotel in Rimini, which is the coastal area where you'll be staying for the duration of the tournament, and then the coaches will go back and register the teams in the actual San Marino venue. So that would be on the Sunday. Monday, the San Marino Cup begins. Now, the tournament itself is spread over the course of the 5 days. You start off with group games. So depending on how many teams enter into each age bracket, which of course is somewhat of an unknown at this point in time, but once they organise the brackets for the tournament, it typically begins with you playing in a group of 4. So you would play 3 group games, 1 each day, and the idea being that at first it's randomly selected, and then, for example, if there are groups of 4, the top 2 in the groups of 4 go through to the finals of the tournament. The bottom 2 in each group of 4 go through to their own consolation or plate finals. So everybody gets to play in some elimination games, and gets to experience that competition. So that's a really fun start to the tournament. And then in the evening we have the San Marino opening ceremony. Don't know how many people were watching at different points of the video, but hopefully you saw the opening ceremony parade with the kids coming in with their teams and their banners and flags, and it really is an important part of the tour because it gets the tournament off to such an exciting start. The kids can mingle with the kids from other teams and other countries, and you really get to feel like you're part of a truly international event. The opening ceremony is definitely one of the big hits of the tournament every year and of the tour itself. So moving on to Tuesday, the tournament games would continue on the 7th, qualification games. Now, from this point on, I'm going to be mentioning sightseeing. Everything that's on the itinerary we will do. It's just a case of maybe they might not be in this order because, again, at this point in time, we don't know the schedule for games. So typically, we try to schedule the sightseeing around the games. So if you have an early morning game, so you're finished nice and early, that's a good time to do a more extended sightseeing trip. If you have a game at lunchtime or early afternoon, then it doesn't allow for so much sightseeing time. So, and bear in mind, we'll have 150 plus people, so not everyone has to do everything at the same time on the same days. So there'll be some shuffling of itineraries, but everything I talk about now that's from a sightseeing perspective, everybody will get to do. So the afternoon is an opportunity to see San Marino itself. If you get a chance, go online. If you don't know about San Marino, Google, get some images. There's a couple on our itinerary. But it really is a beautiful little republic in Italy. It's the world's oldest independent republic. It's on the top of probably what is not described as a mountain, but a very high hill, and it oversees the fantastic countryside. It's breathtaking, the views from San Marino itself. There's a castle on the very top which you can walk around and look out over the countryside. So just a fantastic sightseeing destination. Wednesday, July 8th, more qualification games. And then in the afternoon, or, again, maybe on a different day, there's an opportunity to go sightseeing to Bologna. Again, another very ancient, historic town. or city in Italy, with incredible sights, incredible food, you know, just a good opportunity to relax, enjoy the culture, do a walking tour, etc. Now, just something to bear in mind, not every trip has to be done by every person. So in other words, if sightseeing to Bologna is not really something you think you'd enjoy, there's no pressure to go on these types of sightseeing trips. It's just something that we include. Again, we have the buses at our disposal. We're actually very good at arranging things on the fly. If something, for example, comes up, a local event or festival or something, or an alternative sightseeing trip that everybody wants to go on, we have the flexibility to do that, because the buses will have at least 3 buses between our teams. So it can be a case of one bus is going to Bologna, so anyone who wants to go on this particular day can just let our guides know, and we can take care of that. So moving on again, July 9th is semi-finals day. Again, as I explained with the tournament schedule and structure, semi-finals, really you could call them elimination games, because depending on the structure of the groups, it may be a semi-final, it may just be an elimination game. But either way, you will play a 4th game, and depending on the result of that 4th game depends whether you are involved on the 5th day. So semi-finals day, and then in the afternoon, evening, there's the San Marino Cup dance party. Always a very popular event for the players and the kids. Just a good chance to have a social event with the teams from other countries, and to just really enjoy the atmosphere as the tournament is beginning to come towards a close. And then Friday, July 10th, actually coming to a close itself with finals day and prize giving in the afternoon. What we found is some of our teams will be involved in finals, some unfortunately will not. Let's hope I've spoken too soon and all our teams are involved in finals on that day. But typically what we found happens is, by the time the kids and the parents and the whole group have been away together for this amount of time, there's a real sense of community among the teams and among everybody traveling, and everyone supports and gets behind everybody else. So typically the teams and the kids and the parents who aren't involved on the Friday still want to go and watch any teams that are. But again, with the flexibility of having multiple buses, we can do that either way. So one bus could leave early to head on to the next venue, or you could all stay behind, or 1 or 2 buses can stay behind to support any teams that are playing in the final. Saturday, July 11th, transfer to Rome. My apologies, transfer to Rome is on the Saturday. The day before, if you don't want to watch finals, we can use the buses for, you know, another sightseeing event. So in any case, July 11th, transfer to Rome. We deliberately build this in at the end of the trip. It would be easy to fly into Milan and out of Milan, but if you look on a map, it's kind of a triangle from Milan to San Marino and then to Rome, or you know, it's just the same distance. So it makes more sense really to enjoy Rome rather than going back to Milan for the flight. So we build in another couple of days so that you have the ability to really do some sightseeing and enjoy Rome. Plenty to see and do. We break it up into a couple of days between the 11th and the 12th. We do a guided tour where it's kind of like the New York City hop on, hop off. We'll hit all the major sites. Everybody has a chance to make sure they've seen all the main things that they could see. But then there is also plenty of time to go back and see some other sites, or spend time, a little bit more time at the events that, at the sites that really interest you. So a good example would be the Vatican. You know, we don't include a guided tour of the Vatican because it takes 2 to 3 hours, you know, and that's not something that everybody wants to do. So we make sure you get there, you see, you know, the main sites, but if you wanted to go back and do that tour, there's plenty of time built in where you would be able to do that type of thing. Same with the Colosseum, you know, a guided tour of the Colosseum for those people that want to do it. So that's our 2-day period in Rome, and then on Monday the 13th we head back to the US. Now at this point in time, normally if I was doing a face-to-face presentation, again I would ask you know, who has any questions. So again, I just remind you, if you do have questions about the itinerary or about the terms, conditions, prices, etc., that we're going to go on and talk about, please feel free to email them through and we'll get answers out to you. Okay. So just moving on to some more general information. Inclusions and exclusions. So basically 2 nights in Verona, 6 nights in Rimini, 2 nights in Rome. When you're in Verona and Rome, we include breakfast and dinner. When we're in Rimini, we only include dinner on the first night. The reason for that is because you're in a great tourist destination. There's many restaurants ranging from casual pizzerias to 5-star gourmet restaurants. And, you know, with being there for 6 nights, it doesn't make sense for you to eat in a hotel, you know, in a hotel dining room for 6 nights when you're surrounded by really nice restaurants. And it's more cost effective to keep the meals out in Rimini. Gives us more flexibility as well with sightseeing and things like that. So it just works out well all around. Full-time bilingual manager. So our partners in Italy supply us with a bilingual guide. On top of that, we have our Team UK Elite Tour managers and coaches. So if we take 5 or 6 teams, each team will have a coach who also acts as a chaperone, and I will come on to that shortly. But we also send 3 tour managers, and typically somebody is coordinating everything on the boys' side with the teams, somebody's coordinating on the girls' side with the teams, and then somebody is coordinating with the parents. So everybody has someone to turn to. Our goal really is to make sure that you relax, enjoy the tour, and don't have to worry about a thing. Our coaches will be doing the coaching. They'll be chaperoning the kids at the appropriate times. Our tour managers will be the go-between for you guys to the guides, the buses, and anything else that we need to arrange and adjust while we're there. Private bus, as I mentioned, you know, that's a huge advantage because it gives us flexibility. And then obviously everything that's included on the itinerary, so the guided tours that are mentioned, the training sessions, the tournament entry fees, participation in the tournament, etc., etc. Cost doesn't include lunches and drinks throughout. Lunch, obviously, because we need to be so flexible with the schedule, and most of the time lunch will be either grabbing it on the fly between places, or if we finished for the day and you're sightseeing somewhere, maybe sitting down to a nice lunch. Dinner in Rimini is not included apart from the first night. We do that so that with the travelling, and when you get to Rimini, you maybe don't quite have your bearings yet, so we include dinner on the first night. Tips and gratuities are not included, and then, like I mentioned, entrance fees to the Colosseum, the Vatican, because, again, that's not something that everybody might want to do. Okay? So moving on to the price, we have found over the years the best way to do this is to base everything on average pricing. It's by far the simplest. Some people have said to us in the past, you know, why isn't there a price for parents and a price for kids? This is just simpler, easier to understand, and to be honest, for the most part, it ends up being a wash because the soccer piece of this is very minimal in the bigger scheme of things. And, you know, for most times for a parent traveling, there's also a kid traveling, so this is just the easiest way to do it. So what we basically do, we work on the players staying together in rooms in triples. The main reason for that is because we feel it's a really important part of the team bonding process. And to be honest, as much as our kids love us, given the chance, they would definitely want to room with their friends rather than room with mum and dad or mum or dad. Just the way it is. They have more fun, I believe. I think they get more out of it from a team perspective. It feels more like a team retreat, as it were. So we base the pricing on triple rooms for the kids. Then twin or double rooms is typically for parents traveling together, or perhaps parent traveling with another sibling. And then lastly, as you see there, we do have single rooms. We try to keep those to a minimum because of, you can see there, the upcharge. But if people want single rooms, that's absolutely fine. We do find often when there's two dads traveling together or two mums who know each other, they'll just double up, you know, and we obviously offer that. So if you've got kids on the same teams, 2 or 3 kids from a team are going on a trip and the mums or dads want to stay together, that works out fine, and Nancy coordinates everything there. In terms of the flights, as you can see there, right now we're holding flights out of 4 different destinations. You know, we do this for a couple of reasons: to give you some variety. Obviously, pricing changes between direct flights, connecting flights, departure airports. So as of right now, we're holding these 4 options. So there's a Newark round trip, which is a direct flight in both directions. There's a JFK round trip, which is direct on the outbound, Amsterdam on the way back. So as you can see, it is significantly cheaper, but we like to give people the option. For a family of 4 traveling, the savings are maybe worthwhile, taking the trip to JFK, and for others, maybe not. Philadelphia, as you can see there, $14.89 is round trip via London in both directions, and Boston, $15.14, which is round trip via London also. A very common question we get at this point is, how does it work with flights if we want to get our own flights? So let me just address that now. Our recommendation is, it's part of the experience for the kids and really important that they travel together on the outbound trip. It's just a really unique part of the process. Being at an airport, dressed in your uniforms, warm-up suits, it really draws attention at the airport, and people are sort of trying to figure out what team it is, and it's just a really good bonding experience. So our advice is, if you're going to do your own flight because you want to use air miles or credit card miles, that's fine, but we recommend that when you see our flight details, go through your credit card or however you've got the miles or the airline and try to book that same flight. So on the booking form, there's an option to say, I'm not choosing to take the UK Elite flight. But again, I would recommend you still try to get on that same flight so the kids get the experience of traveling together. We also get the question, can we extend our trip? Can we go early? Now, again, the answer to that is, yeah, absolutely you can. Unfortunately, from our perspective, we really are not travel agents. We're putting a package together. And, you know, so again, I would encourage you, if you want to extend your trip, try to extend it on the back end so the kids get to fly out together. And then at the end of the trip, when everything's pretty much done, if you want to stay on for a few days, change your return leg. And I just think that works out best for everybody. But again, you can indicate that on the booking form. Okay. Going through some terms and conditions. This is all posted on the website, so I'm not going to waste everybody's time this evening reading it. But a couple of things I just do want to draw attention to. The fundraising, which I'll come back to for a second, because I have a separate slide for that. Payment information I'll talk about when we get to this slide. So basically, we work out a schedule for the payments. By the time we do the tryouts and team selection, we don't collect deposits until December the 1st. And again, I'll talk you through that schedule very shortly. But we ask for a $500 per person deposit on December the 1st. That allows us to firm up all our arrangements with airlines, hotels, etc. Then we give you plenty of time to recover from Christmas. And, you know, again, we're scheduling our payments to, your payments to us to coincide with, as we have to start making payments to the vendors and the airlines, etc. So February 15th, a second payment at $1,200 per person would be due. So that basically adds up to $1,700. Then the final balance is to be determined, because there'll be if you're taking your own flight and the kids are in triple rooms, there'll be a minimal final balance. If you're taking our flights and you've got some single rooms thrown in, etc., you know, there'll obviously be a more substantial balance. But we will work all of that out, and it will be due before May 1st. We will have all the information to you before that time, and give you plenty of notice and a chance to pay. Credit card payments. Just one final thought on the final payment. The reason it's May 1st is because typically with the airlines we have to ticket the flight 60 days prior to travel. and once flights have been ticketed, they become non-refundable. So on our end, at that point, we're fully committed, which is why, you know, we need that final balance from everybody in time for May the 1st so we can make those payments. Cancellation policy. Before I get into the detail of this is a worst case scenario. With a group like this where we're looking at probably 150 plus people, if one or two people drop out, it doesn't affect a great deal other than the airline. You know, with such a good, good group, we have a lot of flexibility with the hotels. We typically don't really get penalised if one or two people drop. So these amounts here are worst case scenarios. It's not our intention to hold back any more money than we would ultimately lose. So as we get closer to the trip, we've obviously got more money committed to the tour on your behalf. So there becomes points in our contracts with the various vendors where we don't get refunded the money. But like I say, with a big group, the vendors are typically very accommodating, and we will only hold a minimum. That brings me to an important point, which is travel insurance. Nowadays, we recommend, well, we've been working with a group called Travel Insured for many, many years. We used to sell the policies direct to you through them. We found that people wanted a little bit more flexibility, for example, paying a little bit more in insurance to be able to cancel for any reason. So what we've done now is we just recommend Travel Insured. You can by all means take your own insurance or a company you're comfortable using, but we'll give you all the details for Travel Insured and make it as simple as possible should you want to go in that direction. People have different opinions about the value of travel insurance, but it really comes down to anything that can't be refunded by UK Elite for any reason. That is where your travel insurance would kick in. And again, there's a variety of policies you could choose from if you use Travel Insured, or you could use your own. Now, moving on to uniforms, obviously Team UK Elite is a unique team, so we have to get uniforms for the kids. This is the only cost that is an additional cost. And again, we try and keep it simple. Average pricing on the land. The kids, however, do need to buy a uniform. We have a great relationship now with soccer.com and Adidas, which is our sponsor for the last 2 years. So we can provide a package for the players at a very reasonable cost. 2 game jerseys, 2 shorts, 2 socks, tour jacket, t-shirt, bag. It's about $350 value. We're able to get that for $250. And we'll do that via an online store. So you guys can, you know, when we've selected the teams, you can go online and just order your uniform. It gets shipped directly to you. It's a very simple process. Moving back to the fundraising that I'd mentioned earlier, we have a very easy and simple fundraiser. Every player, once they've deposited, is issued with 300 tickets for a prize draw. The prize is a long weekend in Italy, 4 nights in Lake Como. Everything is included, so airfare, hotels in Lake Como, transfers to and from hotel to airport, and an orientation session with our land partners in Italy. It's very simple. You get the tickets, you solicit donations, and the suggested donation is $10. The players keep 100% of the donations they collect. All we ask is that you send us the ticket stubs so that they can be entered into our prize draw. So there's absolutely no cost. You keep 100% of the money. We just you use it to make your payments, and you just send us the tickets prior to June 1st so that we can include those tickets in the draw. We have had players raise as much as $2,000. All it takes is, you know, some family effort with parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, extended family, and maybe if kids are lucky, parents will take it to work for them. But it is a very simple, nice, clean way to raise a significant amount of money. So moving on to the next point, which is the tryouts. We do the best we possibly can to get everybody to a tryout. It's really important for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we obviously want to see the level of everybody that wants to be involved in the tour. Secondly, we have to decide which age groups teams we can put together and how they fit together. So one of the things with international tournaments is American groups get special dispensation because we work on school years, whereas in Europe they work on calendar years. So I won't bore you with the details, but what that means effectively is that players, we can organise our teams with players playing up and down so that our teams still fit the tournament rules, but we massage them to suit the American system. So for example, it might be we end up with a boys team of U13s, 14s and 16s because we can take the 15s and some can play on the 14s and some can play on the 16s. So at this point in time, we obviously are opening this up to everybody. We want to put as many teams together as possible so that everybody gets a chance to experience, and we'll do the best we can to accommodate everybody. You'll notice there on the tryouts, some of the locations say to be determined. We've actually updated all of that as of today. I just didn't get a chance to update it on this presentation. But all of our dates and times are locked in for either the 8th or the 15th of November at the various locations. With the best will in the world, we know that for certain people there may be a conflict. We really strongly encourage you to get to the tryouts. This is still quite heavily East Coast based. So we do tend to get higher numbers at the tryouts. So if you do go to a tryout at maybe in Texas or in Washington, don't be discouraged if you don't see a huge turnout, because we're still growing the program in those areas relative to the East Coast. So, but our managers are very adept at talking to one another and comparing kids that came out at the various locations. If worst case scenario you can't make a tryout, we're in a kind of a lucky position because many of you have kids that are either playing for our own football club, FC USA, or they're playing for clubs where we train the teams so that we can get feedback about, you know, ability levels and whether kids can play up or down, etc. An absolute worst case scenario is we can talk to whoever the coach is to get some feedback, and possibly, depending on locations, we can even come out and watch players play. It's obviously not particularly efficient, but we will do it that way if we have to. So please try to make the tryouts. It is really important. And again, our goal is to try and accommodate as many players, if it makes sense, into the various teams. Okay. So the next steps. Confirmation emails will follow the tryouts. So by November the 15th, we will have evaluated everyone that we have that's interested. We will put our teams together. We will send out the emails confirming. If for any reason we aren't able to put a team together in a certain age group, we will certainly let people know. But then we need a commitment by December the 1st. That seems like a pretty short notice. And it kind of is, but our hands are somewhat tied. We have to go through the process of tryouts, but we also have to lock in the space that we need. And we figure that if you come to the tryouts and are selected, or we have a team to suit, you're pretty much committed to going because you have all the information at that point. So hopefully turning around the registration that quickly is not a problem. And at that point, you'd receive an entire registration packet. And then as you see, players will receive updates, join our Facebook events page. Facebook is very cool because we can create a specific event, which we have done over the years. So if parents aren't traveling with the teams, it's a really good way of following the teams, getting daily updates on what's happening, how the teams are all making out, etc., etc. So we'd encourage you to join us on Facebook on UK Elite and get regular updates. A couple of questions that I may or may not have already covered, but again, typically do get asked. Can kids travel alone? That is a big one. And the answer is yes, they can. We have kids that do travel alone. If you're working on an average, the younger players tend to have one or two parents going with them. The older players, less parents tend to travel because I guess parents are more comfortable sending their older players. We are very comfortable taking players without parents. We've been doing residential camps for, many years now. So we're used to chaperoning kids overnight, and we've been doing Team UK Elite now since 2005. So we're very comfortable with that. And the way we work it is, say, for example, we have a team of 15 on the team, 10 of the players have parents with them, so that's fine. Then there's 5 players who don't have parents with them. They become the responsibility of our coach. So our coach will make sure those kids are taken care of, that they're eating, that on excursions, day trips, they're with them, they're their responsibility. That, that they're with the group for all bedtimes, meal times, etc., etc. So we basically accommodate and chaperone all those kids. What also happens a lot is kids will know parents of other kids travelling because they're friends or they're on the same team, and if that family's going out for dinner, maybe they take another kid with them, and it just works out really well. So yes, kids can travel alone. Flights, I already talked about. Yes, you can book your own flights, but try to book the same flights as us. Using air miles, that just means decline our flight and go on and try to book the same flight for yourself. They're the main questions that we get asked. Insurance is another one. We've talked about that. Fundraising. Now we have the tour to the grand prize draw for the Italy trip. So that pretty much covers everything. So I really thank you for attending. Hopefully everyone will give it serious consideration. Again, a big part of this for us is spreading by word of mouth. If you like this, you've still got a few weeks left in the season, please go back, talk it up to friends, teammates. And like I say, this will be the last live webinar, but I will post a recording of the webinar on our UK Elite website, so parents can go there, watch the webinar, get all the information, and then the next step for you guys, I'll be sending an email to everyone, or we'll be sending an email to everyone asking them to go on and register for tryouts. If you don't want to wait for the email, that's fine. If you go to the UK Elite page now, where it used to say register for a webinar, you'll now see register for a tryout, and you can give your indication that way. Okay, so I appreciate everyone giving up their time this evening to listen to me. Hopefully it's helpful, informative, and like I say, we hope to see you at the tryout session in November and ultimately on tour with us in Italy. So again, thank you very much and good night.